Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the DraftSeal number DS174AN 36. This is a what I would call a bump up threshold. It can be called a latch track threshold, panic threshold, exit style threshold. I know it by all of those terms. What it is, for sure, is a very positive way to seal your door when the door is in the closed position. That's for sure what it is. Now, it's not handicap compliant because of the, not only the overall height, well, for sure the overall height. That's the bottom line. There's a specific slope that's permissible with handicap compliant thresholds. This surely would not meet that. However, the DS174A for mill aluminum finish and for sponge neoprene insert that's here is 15/16 of an inch overall height with a 9/16 dimension where the door will ultimately reside, and a 5-inch width. So I'm coming up with 13/16 on that dimension. This is either a bad image that I'm looking at right now. I believe that it is. Let's take a look. So what's occurred, I paused that video because the cut sheet from the factory is not correct. They show this as 15/16. It's not. It is indeed 13/16, and the factory confirmed in my conversation with them that 13/16 is accurate. Now they're very happy that we've made them aware of the mistake. 13/16 is the overall height. 9/16 down here for the door area. Looks a little bit shy on that. 5-inch is our overall width, and this happens to be a 3-foot length. Okay, now this is that threshold that I mentioned earlier. Customers will walk into us and say, give me the bump up threshold. That's what they mean. They've got an outside door that swings out, and they want to have a nice good seal on it. They want the door to physically make contact with a stop to mechanically connect the door to the threshold at the bottom. I would take that belt and I'd put suspenders on it as well. I'd put a door sweep out here to make contact. I want my weather seal to be out here. So because you've got a good insert here, I still don't want to let the water get under my door. I'd want to stop it out here, so be mindful of that. We also called it a latch track. Well, that's because of the feature as seen right here. This area right here is very often seen in big box stores where you have two, three, or four pairs of doors on the exterior rear wall that are emergency exits. Pair of doors, surface vertical rod exit devices. Not only will it give them a good seal, but the latch bolt from the bottom rod is going to rest right or mate right with this profile back here. No need to have a separate strike on the bottom latch of a surface vertical rod. That's why it's called a panic threshold, or a latch track threshold is where that is. Now the 9/16, that's going to be really good when it comes to the undercut, the standard undercut of a hollow metal door, which is 3/4 inch. So 13/16 overall height, your door is going to come right in here and make contact. Your door will be able to get over the threshold here with, having 3/16 of an inch margin nominally. Okay, 5-inch wide. Very typical 5-inch width is common because it's compatible with lots of, if you have a 5 3/4 jam depth, it'd be very normal for that sort of application. Now, there is a link below this video to a document called Product Catalog. Now, that product catalog is handy because it will show you the other latch tracks that they have. The one that, in my opinion, is more common is the one that's 7/8 tall, the DS177. I would be prone to use that one because it does give you a little greater height. However, if you've got a really tight margin below the door, you can make the DS178 work. And so it's four things. It's a bump up, it's a latch track, it's a panic threshold, and it's ADA compliant. So it gives you potentially the best of all worlds. You could use that DS178 quarter inch. However, you're not going to use the stock hollow metal door because the undercut will be too great. Unless you are, adding something to the door, like a door bottom, maybe. You'll use that DS178 where you have custom ordered your doors, maybe with a total of 3/8 undercut, or maybe 7/16 even. Or when you've got a really tight margin for whatever reason. You've got concrete that's moved, the pour of the concrete was higher than it should be. Now you're not left with the appropriate amount of distance between the bottom of the door and the floor. Okay. There is also a link to the cut sheet, which is the same document that we've just discussed. By the time you're seeing that video, it will not say 15/16 as it does at this moment. It will say 13/16. This is listed in the website from DraftSeal in particular lengths. And before we get to that, the A is your mill aluminum finish in the part number. The A version is a fire-rated version as well. When you add the N, you're going to get to the neoprene insert, which they say is not listed. It does have a listing tag on it, but technically it's apparently not been tested and therefore listed with a neoprene insert. And that's coming out of the product catalog. They're indicating that the neoprene insert is not a rated condition. And that would simply mean that they didn't test it, number one, and if they did, it didn't pass. This would be considered a fuel load, obviously, in a fire test, so it could have something to do with the fact that there's a fuel load down here. Whatever the reason is, if you need it to be listed, be mindful not to order the N version or remove the N from that insert. Technically, don't order it with an N. Also, that cut sheet that's back up, the A stands for mill aluminum, D, dark bronze. You can also do this in dark bronze. This is going to be listed in the site in different lengths: 3 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, 9 foot, and 12 foot. Those longer lengths are going to be tough. The 9s and the 12s. Anything longer than 8 and longer would be costly to ship, so be mindful of that. This, if you have need for a custom length, don't order it. DraftSeal, at least at the time of this video, is not very conducive to cutting material. They're obviously doing some manufacturing and then stocking, stuff to pre-cut lengths. You will have to trim this material yourself. It's not that it's impossible for them to cut material. It is atypical from what I've learned through experience of working with DraftSeal when it comes to cutting long lengths. It's an atypical scenario. You will possibly have to trim this. This 3 foot piece is actually 36.5, so you're probably going to have to cut it. It's going to come with fasteners, plastic anchors, which is, speaking of atypical, getting plastic anchors along with screws is atypical, so that's at least nice. You may not elect to use them. I know that I wouldn't. I would use 1032 machine bolts and then lead anchors is how I would put it in. You do have some serrations back here that give you some improved surface area. I would obviously be trying to run a bead of caulk and then setting it into a bed of caulk. Thresholds are going to take a lot of force this way, but this way as well, especially a bump up. That door, hitting it every time. It's going to work those screws loose over time, and if you've ever walked over a threshold and heard a clank, that's probably because of a failed fastener. I wouldn't use these personally. I would probably be in the minority of people with that opinion, however. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the DraftSeal products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. When speaking to the factory just now during this video, I find them to be very agreeable, very amenable, very interested to help solve the problem and do so in such a way that's most conducive on everyone. If you have any questions on the DraftSeal DS174A, mill aluminum, and neoprene, bump up, latch track, panic threshold, or any other DraftSeal product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.